Good evening, viewers and listeners. Welcome to another edition of the program, Serving the People. I'm your host, Mrs. Anissa Batiste, founder and leader of the Democratic Republican Party, the DRP. Please let us start with a word of prayer. Dear Father in heaven, do be with me as I speak to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. May their hearts be inspired to support this new party which stands for the God-given rights and freedoms of all of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And now, dear viewers and listeners, remember that if you wish to contact me at this program, you may call the number that is on your screen. It is 528-1015. That's 528-1015. And if you want to send an email, the address is also on your screen right now. It is servingthepeople.ab@gmail.com. I'll repeat the information towards the end of the program for your assistance. Now, in this evening's program, I wish to continue to explain to you some of the ideas and plans of this party, the DRP, for the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Remember, in last week's program, I explained to you how this party is founded upon belief in the protection of the rights and freedoms of all of the people. And I want to talk some more about how that is the basis of our plans for governance. But before I do so, let me just update you on what we have been doing over the last week. We've been involved in visiting persons in various constituencies and talking to them about our party, giving them information about the party, the DRP, and also letting them know that we are scouting for candidates in the various constituencies. We went into the constituency of East St. George, South Windward. We also visited Maraqua, and I want to say a special hello to the Davis family in Evesham, and also to Jeannie and family, who we spent some time with there also. We also visited the constituencies of South Leeward, Central Leeward. Special hello to Joanna and family and all the others whom we met and conversed with, including Eve. Thank you for your contributions, your criticisms, your ideas. We also visited the constituencies of Central Kingstown, West Kingstown, and also East Kingstown and West St. George, where I will be running. And in the coming days, we will be visiting North Windward, North Central Windward, and also North Leeward, and also the Southern and Northern Grenadines. So you can look out for us in those other constituencies in coming days: North Windward, North Central Windward, North Leeward, Southern and Northern Grenadines. And we will be continuing our visits in various communities within these constituencies in order to give you information about the DRP, the newest party, the Democratic Republican Party, and also to let you know that we're looking for candidates. This is a brochure that we have been sharing with persons as we visit. It's a nice little brochure giving you some information about our ideas and our plans, and you will be able to learn a bit about us here. And also there's contact information inside where you could call us up and talk to us and let us know what you would like to do to serve the people, to serve with us, to join the party. You can join the party through forms that we have, and also to give us your ideas about who you feel would be best able to represent you in your constituencies. We're very important in hearing the thoughts of the people, because we know that at the end of the day, you are the ones who hold the power in your hands, the people power, to determine who runs government in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we respect this very much here at the DRP. You may also see behind me our logo, or a portion thereof. We have that beautiful red heart, which stands for the love and care that the DRP has for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we have that blue fist, which is a symbol for power to the people, or the people power, but it also stands for the rule of law. The blue color stands for the rule of law, which means that nobody is above the law. We are all equal under the law, and everybody's rights and freedoms are to be respected by government. And this is what the DRP stands for. We do not at all believe in political victimization. We think it is a backward practice because it causes the productive people to be ostracized and pushed aside and excluded from contribution to nation building. And we are people in the DRP who believe and really believe in and respect the rights and freedoms of the people. So if you hold a different opinion from us while you're working in government or working in a government agency, we don't believe that you should be sent home from your job or fired because you hold a view that is critical of the government. Because the very Constitution of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which guarantees protection for the rights and freedoms of all of the people, the very Constitution that we will be governing under, a DRP government, says that people have the freedom of assembly and freedom of association. In other words, you are free to associate and to assemble with whichever party you want. You are free to hold the opinions that you do, and you also have the freedom of expression, freedom to express these opinions. And as long as you are doing your job well and professionally and contributing to nation building, no government should be persecuting you by sending you home or firing you from your job just because you have a different opinion, which has nothing to do with your performance on your job. I have suffered that from both the current government, the ULP, as well as the opposition NDP in this country. And other people have suffered where these parties don't like when people criticize them. Anytime people criticize them, they get upset, they don't want to hear from you, they fire you if they can fire you, they push you aside if they can push you aside, give you all kind of bogus charges and send you home on half pay. That nonsense will not take place under the DRP. I know what it feels like to have to be dealt with like that, and I know the kind of poverty it brings upon a family and a person when they are treated like that. And that is totally against the principles and the philosophy of the DRP. And I am saying to you, you might say, well, Mrs. Batiste, what if somebody in your government, one of your ministers, does that to somebody? What will you do? Well, if somebody in my government were to do that, and it comes to my knowledge and I'm aware of it, I would investigate it properly. I wouldn't just listen to hearsay. I would investigate it properly and I would address it. If the minister is wrong, he or she would have to be dealt with, because you can't treat people like that. It is the people who put us in power, and we must respect their rights and their freedoms. So I just wanted to say something a little more, about the logo. The color of this party is going to be blue, standing for the rule of law. Nobody is above the law. We are all equal under the law. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your surname is, who is your auntie, uncle, mommy. You are a human being created by God with rights and freedoms. And this DRP will respect that. And so, blue will be our color with our beautiful logo, and we will be operating from those symbols and that color that you can identify with. Okay? Now, having said all of that, let us continue to talk about some of our ideas and plans. In last week's program, we talked about our investment partnership strategy. Yes, and we talked about how this investment partnership strategy will involve two partners. It will involve foreign investors. Actually, it will involve Vincentian investors, first of all, or entrepreneurs, business people, and persons who want to be involved in business, whom we will extend training opportunities to, and it will also involve the foreign investor. So with these two partners, the Vincentian investor or the Vincentian business person and the foreign investor, we will match them together with similar interests, bringing persons to train our Vincentian business persons into areas that we want to pursue as a government, areas that we have studied and where we have seen the money lies, where we can make money. So we're not just going to encourage you in business just helter-skelter, but we're going to try to be strategic and to encourage the development of the kind of businesses that will cause the country to make money and therefore grow the economy. And through this kind of business alliance that we will develop with other countries, for example, who have experience in certain areas of training. We talked last week as an example about the idea of exploring IT-based businesses such as game designs, etc. Through creating business alliances with such countries, we would be able to pursue the right kind of business for economic growth. I want to talk about some of the principles that are behind that. We at the DRP, we believe that the idea of work, jobs, and business is about protection of the people's right to private property. You see, every single human being is made with rights and freedoms from God. And one of those fundamental rights and freedom is the right to private property. A human being must have property in order to sustain his or her life. And therefore, a government's role is to create the right environment and atmosphere for persons to be able to pursue the possession of private property through creating an atmosphere that is conducive to the creation of jobs. So when we are talking about jobs, we're not just saying jobs because we want to vote, and then when we get there we don't do anything. We are saying it because behind that we understand that jobs are important for you to be able to exercise and enjoy your right to private property which God has given to you. And because we have that philosophy at the root of it, we will do it. Because we have a duty to God and to country, to you, the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to ensure that you are able to enjoy the right to private property that your God has given unto you. This is what the DRP stands for. So some of the principles that would ensure this are the freedom of entrepreneurship. You should be free to pursue the business areas that you like, that you're interested in as a part of your right to self-determination. Freedom of investment. Freedom of education, including skill training and technical areas, and freedom from government red tape or government bureaucracy. A number of business persons would tell you that some of the things that keep them back or interfere with them being able to do business as they would like to is because of the red tape that is involved from government policies and procedures which hinder them, which slow them down. We want to look at how governance is done in those areas and see how we can make it smoother for the people. Because we know as long as you are able to do your business without all the red tape and the things that slow you down, then things will go better for the country. So we would be looking into those areas. We also are against political victimization. So you're not going to hear, you can't pursue this business or you can't get through at the customs with this or that because somebody knows you're a ULP or you used to support ULP or the NDP and the DRP is in government, and because we know that we're not going to make you get through as a business person. We are not for that at all. We're not going to interfere with your license and your permissions to do certain things where business is concerned just because we think you are of a certain political party or persuasion. No, the DRP respects the people's freedom of opinion, their freedom to assemble and associate with who they want. And we will facilitate business and business development because it is good for the country, regardless of who you are. I want to make that very clear. So let's talk about the issue of protection of the right to life. We just talked about right to private property and business development and investment and so on. What about the right to life? Well, one of the areas that hampers or affects negatively the right to life of the people is the issue of crime. And so the DRP has a crime plan. And under this crime plan, we will address certain issues. And I just want to read out some points from my presentation here, which I shared with the people in New York. Under our crime plan, we talk about the protection of the person and property. So the issue of theft and predial larceny in the fields, people stealing other person's property, we will address them. We will seek to strengthen our law concerning predial larceny and ensure that it is strong enough to address the issues that the farmers and other persons face where the theft of their agriculture and other property is concerned. We will address domestic violence. We will seek to strengthen laws concerning domestic violence and other violent crimes against the family and persons to ensure that perpetrators are brought to justice, to ensure that persons who are harmed and victims who suffer not only get justice in seeing the perpetrators brought to timely justice, but also they get justice in seeing them being taken care of according to the situations they suffer. I remember giving the example where there was a case some time ago where a woman and a man were in an altercation where the gentleman, the man harmed her. He damaged her very badly and he left her crippled. The damage that she sustained from the fight left her crippled, and he goes to jail, yes, he gets a sentence, but she now is crippled, can't work, and has children to take care of. Who takes care of her? Do you just put all the burden on the state to give her a welfare assistance? What about the perpetrator who has caused her to be in this situation, and he goes to jail and people feel it's unfair because he sits down in jail and he eats off of taxpayers' money, and this woman is crippled and has children to take care of and cannot work anymore because of this damage she suffered from his hands. We believe that in cases like that, we must have the rehabilitation of criminals while they're in prison, and in the rehabilitation of criminals where we would give them training and education about rights and freedoms and how crime is against rights and freedoms to help them when they go out of prison. But not only that, we would also ensure that while they are in prison, they get certain training in certain business skills and trades that they could work while in prison, and whatever savings they get could go towards what you call restitution or paying back for what they did. Money going towards the victims to help them through the government. This is very important in certain kinds of cases, like the one I just explained to you. It is unfair that a criminal sits down in prison and the woman is crippled and has children to take care of, and nobody who's taking care of her. And he's the one who caused her to be in that condition. It's a very serious issue, and it's not enough for the prisoner to just go to jail. No, it is not enough. He has his strength, he has his life. Let him work, put them to work, and let certain things come out of it that could pay restitution to the person who is a victim. And we're saying we would look at the law, look at best practices, and see how we could institute this kind of thing in certain kinds of cases. We will also implement policies to strengthen the family. This is very important. The problem of crime has at its roots certain values that people have in their minds. And it starts from the family unit, which is where children first come up and come out of into society. So we believe it is very important as a government for us to put emphasis on policies to strengthen the family, whether it be through awareness, through education in the media and in communities about family values, which people seem to have lost, to strengthen family, teach the children how they're supposed to relate to parents, parents to children, children to children relationship, how they're supposed to relate to the other sex, how should boys relate to girls, girls to boys, teach them about rights and freedoms, the importance of respecting one another's rights. If a girl says no and don't do her that, or don't touch her on her bottom, or whatever the case is, you're supposed to respect her wishes. Teach the children values that would cause them to, as they grow up older, to respect one another's rights and not violate the rights, which leads to things like rape and incest and all these other wrongs. We need to educate the family, we need to educate the children, we need to educate the parents, let them know about their rights, let the children know that if this one does them that, who they could go to for help, who they could speak to confidentially and get redress, how they could report things that are done to them that they don't like. We need to re-establish this kind of education into the minds of our people. And this is something that our government would pay very careful attention to. But we also recognize that crime is a problem, not just among the regular people, if I should put it that way, but we also have something called white-collar crimes or corruption. In other words, crimes taking place among who you might call well-off people in society, and who might get away or seem to get away with it because they have money or because they are people of high standing in society. We at the DRP make no distinction between persons of high status and persons of low status. Crime is crime, wrong is wrong, regardless of who you are. And therefore, we will not be compromising. We will ensure that our police force is not interfered with by partisan politics, such that they might tend to let the high status person get off while the common man has to pay. We will ensure that there is fairness and justice across the board. And we will ensure that the police understand their role is to protect and serve the citizens, and not to protect and serve politicians, not to protect and serve persons in high position, or protect them from being prosecuted lawfully when they are wrong or found in wrong. So this DRP government will be very serious on dealing with stamping out white-collar crimes or corruption. And we are very serious about that. These are some of the ideas that we have under our crime plan. It's not exhaustive. You will hear more, but I just want to take the time to explain some of it to you, my dear people. Let's talk a little bit for the next 10 minutes about our health plan. Now, health has to do with enhancing the right to life. So this too comes under our duty to protect the people's right to life. When we talk about the health of a people, we talk about sustaining their life. If you don't have good health, if there's not access to medication and to ways in which you can address health problems like accidents, etc., address them effectively, then your life quality would be reduced. So under our health plan, we talk about enhancing the right to life, and these are some of the things we talk about. We talk about ensuring adequate supply of medication at the hospitals and community clinics. This is a big issue in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A lot of people complain that they go to the hospital and many times they have to go to the pharmacies themselves to buy their own medication because the medication is not readily available at the hospital. Let me make something absolutely clear. This is not an indictment on the nurses and the doctors. We know that they work hard. We know that they work under a lot of stress. We know that they work under situations where they cannot do better because things are not available to them. And we commend them for the wonderful work that they do despite their situations, despite the difficult circumstances. However, the reality is, many a times the medication that is needed is not available at the hospitals and the community clinics to serve the people as it should be. This DRP government would look into ways in which we can supply adequately medication that is necessary at the hospitals and the community clinics. We will give it priority. Secondly, we would source rapid response vehicles to deal with health issues and accident issues. For example, we will look into the issue of an air ambulance or helicopter. Why? We have seen what happens sometimes when you have serious cases in the Grenadines which cannot be treated at their little health institutions there, that where people have to be rushed to mainland St. Vincent, as we call it. And often it is very inconvenient and uncomfortable and reduces the opportunity to get quick and efficient health care to these persons in emergencies. I've personally had a case where I had to rush to the hospital to take certain things for a young lady who had to be rushed up on Coast Guard from Beckwith to St. Vincent, and she gave me her personal testimony of how difficult it was for her because the particular problem she had involved a lot of pain in the stomach area, and there she had to be on a fast moving boat underwater with swells and so on, and it just made it worse. Okay, if we had things like an air ambulance in place that could go quickly through the sky from point A to B to rush people to a main emergency center where, let's say, the particular care that they need is not available where they are, like in Beckwith or at a smaller clinic at another end of the country, that could help. You cannot tell me it is too expensive. These are things we can get as gifts from our foreign partners. And it is a worthy investment for the sake of the health of our people. It is a worthy investment for the sake of providing efficient, in terms of quick assistance and health service to people in emergencies in a country that is multi-island in its nature. We can't help for the fact that we have Grenadine Islands, and we have to remember the people of the Grenadines belong to St. Vincent and the Grenadines too. No treatment should be different towards them. We have to put things in place. For too long now, the Grenadines people have felt that they are overlooked or pushed aside or forgotten, neglected. And it's time for us to show as a country that we are equipped to bear the burden of our characteristics. We are multi-island. We have people living in Myro, Canouan, Union Island, Beckwith. We need Mustique. We need to ensure that when necessary, the same availability exists for them to get proper, adequate, efficient, quick health care and access to health care in emergencies, etc., like everybody else who lives on St. Vincent itself. And this will also include persons who live on the two ends of St. Vincent and also in the center, in the valley, that we need to get to a general main hospital quick. Okay, so this is something we definitely could look into. And like I said, don't tell me that, oh, it's too expensive. We've received vehicle gifts from other countries before, whether it be police, bikes, etc. We could receive gifts in the form of air ambulances too, and we could surely bear the cost of maintaining them Just the same way we could bear the cost of building an international airport. You're talking about our people's health and their right to life, and therefore it must be given priority. And this DRP would look into sourcing rapid response vehicles such as air ambulances to assist with our multi-island nature and getting our people proper health care, especially from the extreme ends like the Grenadines and the other ends of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Another area in health care that we would look into seriously is giving education and awareness on the use of local fruits and vegetables that can act as drugs and medicine to prevent and cure diseases. We want to encourage our people to eat better, but not just say so. We want to give them education into the kinds of foods that are good to deal with certain problems, like how tomatoes and pineapples are excellent for prostrate care. Yes, like how garlic, simple garlic, is an excellent natural antibiotic that can be used in colds and other experiences. But not just to treat things when you already have a problem, but also to encourage people to generally eat more healthy to prevent certain problems from occurring. And we believe that this can be done through massive education campaign throughout the country, encouraging people into how the very things that we have around us, the tomatoes, the garlic, the ginger, right, the fruits like mangoes and banana, and like okra, vegetables like okra, all these beautiful things that we have right here that we don't have to import. We don't, like how you might import the English apple, but we have natural fruits right here that grow here, that drop and spoil on the street corners from the trees, that you don't have to import, and they are very good for your health, very good for the children's brain and to help them at school while they're learning and so on. And we will do a lot more education into how important these foods are and encourage our people to eat them so that they could have better health, thereby enhancing their right to life. This will be our duty to you also, as a people, as a government, to its people. Remember, we are about serving the people. That's what our program is called, and that is one of our watch phrases in the DRP. New hope from service to the people, and we really believe this. So these are some of the ideas that we have under our health plan. My dear people, we have come to the end of our program. Please remember that the Democratic Republican Party is the true alternative to governance in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are not a lazy party. We don't sit down and not get up and see what we can do. We are creative. We have great ideas that are workable, and we are putting together a team right now to present to the people so you can see 15 candidates from the DRP who you could vote for and realize that you don't have to just settle for this one because you're disappointed with that one, or you don't have to stay home and not vote because you can't see yourself voting for this or that. You can vote for the blue party. You can vote for the DRP. Yes, you can vote for the heart with the fist and the words that say, I am a democratic Republican. I am one who believes in democracy, but I also believe in the protection of the rights and freedoms of all of the people, not just the majority, not just the minority, but both majority and minority, and that is what republicanism stands for. We also want to tell you, remind you, you can join this party. Call us on the number on your screen, 528-1015, 528-1015. You will get forms to join. And remember, over the next few days, we will be in North Windward, North Central Windward, and North Leeward, and then on to the Southern and Northern Grenadines, so look out for us. I am Anissa Batiste, your host, and I'm the founder and leader of this party. May God bless you, may He help you and keep you, and may God bless St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Until next time, take care. See you. Bye-bye.